So just last week, I was on K-Fan with Joe Friedberg, who's a rather prominent attorney here in the state of Minnesota. And one of the things that came up that they talked about was the level of financial input that owners will put into a stadium. And so Joe had actually done the research and found out that Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys, had recently put in $1 billion into the building of the new Dallas stadium. So the way the rest of that was financed was that $450 million was raised through personal seat licenses, and $350 million came from tax subsidies from the state of Texas. So I think it's important for people to know that Ziggy Wilf has been interested, has stated several times, and willing to contribute $250 million of his own money. So when you look at Ziggy Wilf's net worth of $1 billion, and that he's willing to contribute $250 million, that's 25% just like Jerry Jones had invested. So nobody is saying that the state of Minnesota should finance that on their own. And when you start to talk about financing, there's other things that you can do. Right, so some of the things that we've done on Facebook is we put up a forum, a discussion page where people can come out and talk about ways that we can finance this so that the average taxpayer isn't burdened with heavy taxes. So some of the things that we talked about is personal license plates. Green Bay has personal license plates for the Green Bay Packers, and the Minnesota Department of Transportation can sell those at $150 to $300 a license plate to help generate revenue for that. I'm a big proponent of fast food tax. One of the biggest objections I get is, why would we allocate money towards the stadium when you can't necessarily allocate money towards schools and healthcare? Well, my response to that is the Minnesota Vikings generate $26 million in tax revenue to the state of Minnesota. So why are we incenting people to eat unhealthy, right? So what you can do is you can put a 2% tax increase on fast food across the state. And being that obesity is one of the largest drags on healthcare costs right now, you can start incenting people to make lifestyle changes to eat healthier. And if you're going to continue to eat that way, you're going to help finance our stadium. Some of the usual suspects that are up there, the Racino bill, scratch-offs, and then a ticket tax increase. I myself am a season ticket holder. Brian and I are going to the game tomorrow. And if you were to add a $5 ticket tax onto what's already there, and I think it's about $13, that to me as a season ticket holder would increase my ticket prices by $100 a year. That's certainly not enough for me to say I'm not going to be a season ticket holder moving forward. So you can impose some of those taxes on the people that go to the games. You can impose some of those taxes and disperse it across the state so that the average taxpayer doesn't necessarily have to pay that burden on their own. Hi, I'm joined here today by a couple of Vikings fans that I thought would be important to share with you some of their Vikings fans' experiences and what keeps them coming back to Minnesota. So, sir, why don't you tell people at home your name?
My name's Dana Armel.
And Dana here is a longtime Vikings fan. How long have you been following the Vikings?
Over 30 years.
30 years. That's almost longer than I've been alive. And one of the first things you'll notice about Dana here is that he's actually wearing a Jacksonville Jaguars jersey, but a Minnesota Vikings fan hat. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
I've retired from the Air Force and moved to Jacksonville, but I've been a Vikings fan for so long, and I keep coming back here year after year and catch at least one game, maybe two games a year.
So you live in Florida and you come to Minneapolis?
Correct.
How often would you say you come to Minneapolis?
1-2 times a year.
Okay.
Depends. Yeah.
Sure. And what do you do while you're here?
Partay.
Sure.
Hang out with the brethren and just get crazy tailgating, and I go to restaurants. I go to the Mall of America.
Mall of America, sure.
Yeah.
And where do you stay while you're here?
Often I stay with a friend. Occasionally I have stayed in the local hotel.
Okay, sure. So whether you're with a friend or at a hotel, you're here spending your money, you're traveling here and contributing to the economy of the state of Minnesota.
Correct.
Would you say you come back to Minnesota if the Vikings weren't here?
Not very often. No.
Not very often. Okay. Well, I appreciate your time and your commentary on that. Sir, why don't you tell people your name?
My name is Darren Frosthaven.
And Darren, are you a fan of the Minnesota Vikings?
Of course I'm a Vikings fan.
And if I'm not mistaken, you're a season ticket holder.
I am the season ticket holder. I have 6 tickets.
6 tickets? Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy. And who goes to the games with you?
Family from North Dakota and all over the Twin Cities.
So you have family that travel in from North Dakota and stay here?
Yep.
Great. And how long have you been a season ticket holder?
Since 2000.
2000. What do the Vikings mean to you?
They're a big part of my life. I remember playing football as a little kid, and I can't imagine the Vikings, my life without the Vikings. and I've had many conversations with this whole thing about the whole moving things. And I watch football and Vikings all the time, and I would be heartbroken if anything happened to our beloved Vikings.
Okay. And what are you willing to do as a citizen to help keep the Vikings here? Are you willing to look at ideas that can help fund the new stadium?
Oh, yes.
Would you be willing to pay $25 in tax increase, income tax increase a year?
No question.
Would you be willing to buy a personalized license plate?
Oh, yes, big time.
Okay, good. So clearly you would support the Vikings, and it's important for you to see.
Yes.
What would you do on Sundays if the Vikings weren't here?
Probably go to another state and do something else.
Well, there you have it. All right, so you got two fans here that are willing to show their support and bleed purple for the Minnesota Vikings. So hopefully you guys will be willing to do the same at home.
Hello, my name is Scott Asplund, or a nickname better known as a Skolt, from WeAreVikingsFans.com, a social networking site for all Vikings fans worldwide. And trust me, there are Viking fans from all over the world on this site. Great site to get on if you're a Viking fan, just to be able to hook up and chit-chat with other Vikings fans anywhere, as well as do get-togethers, whether that's social things, meeting up at games, as well as getting into the causes like the savethevikes.org is doing right now too. That's another website that you've hopefully been hearing about that's focused on the stadium issue that we need. Minnesota needs a new stadium, which will benefit the state, of course, as well as help us keep our Vikings here in Minnesota, which we've got to get this done. So a huge part of my free time is spent between both these websites, blogging on there, trying to help educate people about some of the issues, communicating about things, whether that's on, again, helping save the Vikes, or if that's just on the We Are Vikings fans site. I'm greeting new fans as they come on board, helping answer some questions about getting around the site or activities that are coming up, whether it's for at home games, road games, other things that are going on, draft party, for example. We've had big social get-togethers too. So love to meet up with you on there. Again, my nickname is Skolt, S-K-O-L-T. Kind of combining the Viking Skol word as well as my name Scott. It's just how that came about. So very, very well-connected fan with all the greatest fans in the world, from 100% cheese-free. You all know him, the big warrior guy who's you might see in the background behind me right now, a good personal friend. All the men of the Vikings World Order, the biggest and best superfan Viking group that there is. The Viking Victory Voyage, which is a group that does a lot of social get-togethers. Again, all of us are part of the We Are Vikings fans site. And again, I'd love to be able to meet you on there and chat anytime, so you're welcome to come see me there.
He loves it.
There we go.
Hey.
Members of the nation.
All right. How you guys doing? Hey. How do you guys feel about the lease on the stadium and possibly losing the Vikings out
Yeah,
here?
it ain't happening, man. Vikings will stay in Minnesota forever.
Forever.
The Almighty V Nation will stay in Minnesota forever and ever.
Right.
Anybody else?
You sending in your emails, or you making those phone calls? What's going
We're
on?
from Wisconsin, so you know what? Our emails should count 10 times more. We want the Vikings to stay in Minnesota all day.
All right.
Every day.
Just tap that and come back to life? No.
We need to go see those people when they speak in tongues.
My name is Sid Davies, 100% cheese-free, champion of the Viking World Order, and an honorary member of Minnesota Momentum to Save the Vikings. We try to do everything we can to save this team from leaving to Los Angeles. This team cannot leave this town. They've lost too many teams in the past. To lose the Lakers, to lose the North Stars, that was absolutely ridiculous. But to lose the Vikings, that would be the biggest crime of the century. And we cannot lose the Minnesota Vikings. It means too much to this community. It means too much to the National Football League. We know that Minnesota has to stay here. The Vikings, this is Vikings country, and we have to save this team.
Vikings and the Bears are playing. We got Sid.
31-10 Vikings over the Bears. Adrian Peterson will have 2 touchdowns and over 150 yards rushing.
All right.
In a blowout of the Bears. The Bears. Going down for the last time. Fighting it out with the Detroit Lions for the first pick in the draft.
All right.